Hey, hey, welcome to the Success Achievers Club, where we help direct sellers and online social sellers level up on their online strategies. I'm Lynn Huber,
And I'm Richard.
and this is Richard. And so, you guys, we don't have anybody on with us live today, but we usually get a whole bunch of people on the replay. So, if you're watching this on the replay, hi, welcome, and maybe some people will still come in late. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen, get my PowerPoint up here. All right. So, welcome to week 5. So far, we've talked about clearing the clutter to call in more, rewriting the rules around worth, building capacity to hold more, calibrating to overflow energy. And so, today we're going to talk about receiving support, not just praise. Let's begin by landing in the space together. So, let's take a deep breath together, not just to settle your body, but to remind you you are not alone here and you were never meant to be. So, this week we're meeting a pattern that runs deep for so many ambitious women, the belief that you have to do it all to be worthy. So, that receiving help is a weakness. And that rest is indulgent. That delegation equals loss of control, and that no one else will care enough to do it right. And maybe you've been praised for that kind of strength. You know, you've built entire businesses on your ability to carry more, to lead more, and to give more. So, but here's the invitation today. What if you didn't have to earn your abundance by being everything to everyone? What if your next level requires you to let yourself be held? Let's start with a check in. So, where in your business or life are you currently resisting support, even though part of you deeply craves it? It might be around asking for help or letting someone into your process or not micromanaging every outcome. Write that down or drop it in the chat. And I'm going to give you a second to write that down. So let's name what's underneath that. What are you afraid receiving help will cost you? Maybe it's control or respect or identity, or maybe it's your edge, right? Or someone else's approval. The goal today isn't to force you to delegate, it's to help you recognize that receiving is a skill. And like any skill, it takes awareness and practice and compassion to rebuild it. Because the woman you're becoming, she doesn't just receive money, she receives love, she receives support and care and ideas and collaboration and nourishment. She's not here to prove she can do it all. She's here to remember she doesn't have to. That's the shift. And it begins right here. So let's begin with this truth. Receiving is not a weakness, it's a frequency. But for many women in business, receiving support feels like a threat to their identity, to their value, to their sense of control. They've been praised for being high performing, all capable, and unshakable. So support doesn't feel natural. It feels like surrender, or it feels like you've let the ball drop, or like you're losing something. But here's what I want you to know: support doesn't take away your power, it amplifies it. And if you're holding the vision for more impact, more clients, more income, more spaciousness, you can't carry it alone, at least not sustainably. So today we're going to get honest about the invisible patterns that are keeping you stuck in hyper independence. And we're going to start by building the internal safety required to receive not just praise, but real support. So let's talk about where this all begins. So hyper independence doesn't mean that you're hyper confident, it means that you were taught directly or indirectly that being reliable, self-contained, and low maintenance is what made you lovable, safe, or good. You guys, especially women, this is something that seems like we're taught when we're little, right? I know for me, I was. If I could be reliable, self-contained, and especially low maintenance, that's what made me lovable. And that's what I think most of us feel. But so now you do everything yourself because it's easier than explaining. Or maybe you avoid asking for help because you don't want to seem needy. Or maybe you say, I've got it, even when you don't. Or you feel guilt when someone offers to take something off your plate. Or maybe you believe that letting go equals losing control. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Hyper independence isn't a leadership strategy. It's an exhaustion loop. So when we say no to support, it's rarely about just the task. It's about what we believe support might be costing us. So let's name it. Okay. So it could be fear of losing control. If I hand it off, they won't do it right. Or I'll have to fix it anyway. Or I don't trust anyone to care as much as I do. Or maybe this is a big one, that fear of being seen as less than. If I need help, I'll look weak. I'll lose credibility. People will think I can't handle it. Maybe it's a fear of intimacy. If I let people in, I'll owe them, or they'll let me down, or it's safer to stay a little bit detached. Here's what's really happening. You're protecting your value by proving your capacity. But the next level of abundance doesn't respond to proving, it responds to receptivity. So let's make an important distinction. Boundaries protect your energy, barriers block your receiving. So a boundary says, here's what I need to feel clear, held, and resourced. I'm delegating this so I can show up better where it matters most. This is how I best receive support. A barrier says, I'm the only one who can do this right. Or if I want it done well, I have to do it myself. Or no one really shows up anyway. So you don't need to bulldoze your barriers. You just need to see them. Because once you see them, then you can choose differently. So let's normalize how simple and powerful support can be. Support is a teammate who takes one thing off your plate, or maybe a mentor who holds space for your leadership, or a friend who checks in when you're quiet, or a partner who handles dinner without being asked. I have that. Or a client who respects your boundaries, or a system that automates what actually drains you, right? Or a practice that nurtures you emotionally. Support doesn't mean someone saves you. It means you stop bleeding energy where you don't need to. You only have room for so much, right? So ask yourself this: where are you still leaking energy by refusing help? Go ahead and write that down or put it in the chat so we can see it. So you're going to write that down. Where are you still leaking energy by refusing help? And where would receiving feel like relief, not weakness? That's where we're going to begin. So let's take this a little bit deeper, okay? So much of our resistance to support comes back to identity. We've tied our worth to how much we do, how much we manage, how much we hold without asking for help. But you do not have to prove your value through overcapacity. You are still brilliant, credible, and deeply in your power, even when you don't do it all alone. In fact, when you allow support to meet you, you create more room for overflow, impact, and ease. So, this is what I want you to try on this week. I receive support because I value my energy, not because I can't handle it. Let that land. I'm going to say that again, and it's on the slide too. But I receive support because I value my energy, not because I can't handle it. Let that become the frequency that you lead from. So you don't have to keep doing it all to be worthy of more abundance, more ease, more love, more freedom. Abundance requires receptivity, and receptivity requires trust. So let's move into today's reset and embodiment work and begin to gently unhook the belief that being held equals being less. Because the woman you're becoming, she's not proving anymore. She's allowing. And she knows letting people in is what makes the vision sustainable. So let's move into today's reset. This isn't about writing the perfect boundary script. It's about gently reconnecting with the part of you that's ready to be held. Because here's the truth, you were never meant to carry it alone. You just got really good at it. And now we're going to create space to choose something softer, something more sustainable. So, step one is awareness, so you can spot the resistance. So, grab your journal or your worksheet, and let's start by identifying the pattern. Answer these questions in your journal. And then you're welcome to type it in the chat if you would like. I would love to see what you're thinking and what you're writing, okay? First prompt, where in your life or business are you still trying to prove your worth by doing it all yourself? Go ahead and write that down. Where in your life or business are you still trying to prove your worth by doing it all yourself? The next one is, what's one area where receiving support would feel like relief, but part of you still resists it? So, what's one area where receiving support would feel really good? It would feel like a relief to you, but you still got something inside of you that's resisting that support. So, some examples might be letting go of control, or hiring help, or asking for input, or slowing down without guilt. Now, reflect, what are you afraid receiving support might cost you? Could be control, or credibility, or approval, or your edge, or connection, or it could be something altogether different. So write that down. What are you afraid receiving support might cost you? Then we're going to repattern what support actually creates. So now you're going to shift your lens. So the next prompt is, what would actually be possible if you let support in without guilt, without over explaining or micromanaging? What space could open? What could feel easier? So complete this sentence. I don't receive support because I can't do it alone. I receive support because blank. So it's, I don't receive support because can't do it alone. I receive support because blank. Let your body feel that new truth. Okay, so close your eyes or soften your gaze. Place one hand over your chest and one over your belly. Take a slow inhale and exhale with sound. Now bring to mind the version of you who lets herself be supported. She doesn't micromanage. She doesn't perform for praise. She doesn't guilt herself for needing help. She simply trusts. I get to be held and I still get to be powerful. Breathe into that. Now imagine your body holding that energy, not from force, not from defensiveness, but from worthiness. Stay with your breath. Let it settle. Let your system feel the support, the frequency of support without tension. Now ask gently, where can I soften? What am I allowed to receive starting now? Let your body answer, not your mind. And then we're going to anchor this with a ritual. So to close, choose one simple ritual or shift to practice this week that helps you lead with support, not pressure. So some examples might be letting someone else take a task, even if they do it differently than you would. Asking for emotional support without apologizing. Building a longer buffer around your schedule to give you some breathing space. Not jumping in to fix or control. Creating a daily check-in with yourself. What do I need help with today? Now you write yours. And then I have one final sentence to complete. This week, I allow myself to be supported by blank. Let that become your anchor. So this week, I allow myself to be supported by blank. Okay, so this part of the work doesn't require perfection. It just requires honesty. So many of us have been conditioned to be the one that holds it all. This is your space to let go of some of that weight without guilt or explanation. This isn't about getting it all right. It's about being witnessed in your shift. So we're gonna ask some questions for you to type in, I mean, for you to write in your journal, but also I'm hoping that you'll share with us, okay? So where in your life or business are you still trying to do it yourself? Or what's the invisible pressure or pattern that's been the hardest to release? Or what's one form of support you're ready to start receiving this week, even if it feels a little edgy right now or new? So go ahead and unmute. I'd love to hear your thoughts or type them in the comments. I know we don't have a lot of people on today. Like I said earlier, I think most people watch the replay. But if you're here and if you want to talk, go ahead and unmute or type it in the comments. All righty. Well, okay. So let's take a breath together. A breath that says, I don't have to earn rest. I don't have to prove I'm fine. I get to ask for help and still be the one who leads. This is your time to receive. Bring forward anything that still feels sticky or tight or confusing around being supported. No pressure to be polished, just bring what's real. So you can share a pattern where you still resist support even though you want it, or maybe a boundary or delegation that you're afraid to hold, or maybe a moment where asking for help felt unsafe, or a story or belief that you have that says receiving equals weakness, or maybe a fear of being let down if you don't do it yourself. So anybody want to share? You want to start? Do you have anything you want to say? No? Okay, well, all right, so let's move on then. Okay, so this week is not about forcing yourself to delegate everything. It's more about choosing one part of your life where leadership in your life or your leadership where you stop proving and start allowing. So you're going to identify the pattern that you're releasing. So look back at your notes or reflection. Where have you been trying to earn abundance by carrying it all yourself? What's the one I've got it habit that you're ready to shift? So complete this sentence. I no longer prove my worth by blank. And then we're going to choose a support ritual or boundary. So support doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be consistent. Choose one act of support to give or receive this week without guilt or over explaining. So maybe, for example, let someone help you even if it's not perfect, or say no without a follow up sentence. You know, no is a complete sentence, right? Or automate a task that you've been manually controlling. Or ask for encouragement, not solutions, or create a buffer in your calendar and honor it. Because we're not looking for someone to do it for us. We're looking for support, right? We're looking for someone to be with us, to join us and help us and be supportive. It's not that we can't do it, it's that we are allowing the help. So write this down. So this week I allow myself to be supported by blank. And then we're going to track your emotional response. So each time that you allow support, notice what comes up. What are you feeling when you're allowing that support? Is it guilt? Is it discomfort? Is it a desire to take it back? Relief? Spaciousness? You're not failing when you feel resistance. That's normal, you guys. Resistance is always normal when you're changing. You're just repatterning. So let your body learn that safety lives on the other side of softness. Use this mantra daily. I don't receive support because I'm overwhelmed. I receive support because I value my energy. So I'm going to say that again. I don't receive support because I'm overwhelmed. I receive support because I value my energy. So if you have a ritual or boundary, go ahead and unmute. I would love to hear it, or type it in the chat. But, that way we can witness you in it, right? Okay. Well, so support is not the opposite of power. Support is what makes power sustainable. So this week, you're not just letting someone help with a task, you're telling your nervous system, I don't need to carry it all alone to be worthy of what I want. Abundance expands when you stop trying to hold the whole vision by yourself. You're still the visionary, but you're no longer the martyr. So, what's one word or phrase that captures the version of you who trusts that being supported isn't a weakness, it's a way forward? Drop that word in the chat. Anchor it in your journal. What's the one word or phrase that captures the version of you who trusts that being supported isn't a weakness, it's the way forward? So take one last breath and walk into your week knowing you are still powerful. Collaboration. Yes, Pat, collaboration. That's a great one because that's exactly what we're looking for, right? Someone to collaborate with us, not to do it for us, not to do it instead of us, but to collaborate. And that way our energy gets spread further and we don't have to hold it ourselves. I like that. I love that, Pat. Great one. So walk into your week knowing that you're still powerful when you let yourself be held. And your next level wants you resourced, not rugged. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you guys found this valuable. Today we worked on receiving support, not just praise. Next week, we're going to talk about anchoring abundance as a way of being. So we'll see you next Tuesday, August 19th, same time, same place. Thanks for being here with us today. We come back to me. Anyway, thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.